This week on the RV podcast.
Are Canadian RVers in the U.S. being harassed by American citizens? Are U.S. RVers in Canada being harassed by Canadians? There have been incidents on both sides of the border.
How to plan a truly epic RV stay, wherever you decide to stop. Expert advice from our Wendy, who plans all of our RV community gatherings.
What's happening at our national parks during this prolonged government shutdown? It's not a pretty picture.
All this, plus the RV news of the week and your questions coming up in episode 569 of the RV podcast.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Mike Wendland. This is my lifelong traveling companion, and boy, have we been traveling, and my bride, Jennifer. Hello, my dear.
Hello, Michael.
Coming to you today from the Emerald Coast of Florida this week. We have finished our most recent rally. We finished our Great American River Road Tour. And now we are going to take some R&R time and catch up on our video editing down here in Florida. So it should be pretty good. Hey, quick announcement. It's getting cold out there, even here in Florida. I might need a sweatshirt in the morning.
Oh, dear.
But by 11 o'clock, it's in the 70s again. But it is getting cold, and it's time to winterize. And every year at this time, I get a ton of questions about it. So what we did is we put together a free winterizing guide. Now, this is absolutely free. It's an instant download. I'll put a link in the description below or in the show notes for this episode, which you'll find at rvlifestyle.com/podcast. But it's yours for the asking. Every RV is a little different, you want to make sure you have your user manual there, but the general principles are the same, and this has got like a little checklist, and whether you're a veteran winterizer or a newbie winterizer, I think our winterizing guide will help. So check it out, the link in the description below.
Now, before we get started, we need to respond to some email. It has to do with the frosty chill that settled over the border for RVers like us, Canadian and American alike. The current tensions between Canada are boiling over into the RV community.
Now, they stem, of course, from escalating U.S.-Canada trade and political frictions, amplified by U.S. President Donald Trump's claim that he wants Canada as our 51st state. I thought he was joking.
I thought he was joking, too.
But he keeps saying this over and over again. And Canada is an extremely proud country.
Yeah, they're very proud of their country, and I don't think anybody in the States wants Canada as their 51st state.
But he keeps saying that, and that got a lot of people angry.
Maybe he likes to get people riled. I don't know.
And then this spring, there were some new immigration rules, very strict visa requirements, and a lot of enhanced border security. And they have shocked Canadian RVers, and that has led to a very sharp drop in northbound travel. And that has led to a very sharp drop in travel from the north down into the U.S. Canadian snowbirds have been canceling reservations like crazy.
And surveys show nearly half of Canadians are now less inclined to visit the U.S. this year, citing not just financial woes, but also a growing sense of political alienation from inflammatory rhetoric that paints Canadians as an adversary.
Meanwhile, some American RVers who have headed northward with fewer hesitations, they've been reporting a definite chill that has strained the once seamless camaraderie of the RV community between Canada and the U.S.
Now, we've been hearing about this all summer, but this week we received 2 emails that bring this home in the most powerful way, telling us these tensions are being felt by RVers on both sides of the border, by Canadian RVers visiting the U.S. and American RVers visiting Canada.
These are very sincere and I think very sad emails, and they're an example that words have consequences and that behind every policy tweet maybe a family in a Winnebago wondering if the next campsite is going to feel like home or a battlefield. So let me read one to you. And this is email that came from Canadian RVers. A woman named Pat wrote this, and she and her husband have been regular snowbird visitors to the U.S. And she wrote this. She said, "I would really like it if you started covering how Canadian snowbirds are navigating going south this winter. My husband and I have gone south for years, but quite truthfully, we're a little anxious about doing it this year. There are new rules for Canadians who are staying more than 30 days, and we're also concerned about the border and going down there. We've heard some horrendous stories. We don't know what to think. For example, one woman spoke of a gun being pointed at her as she drove on the road. There was also the case of the border patrolman who followed someone with Ontario license plates and screamed at them not to come back to the USA. I think about this every day because we love going south. We love American friends, and it will be a long, cold winter without them. I would love some input.
And then there's a letter that we received this week from Tracy, a U.S. RVer who spent some time in Canada. We are on the final weeks of a 4-month journey from Texas that included travel into the Canadian Maritime provinces and Newfoundland. While we met many nice people along the way, we also encountered some angry Canadians who felt that it was their job to make sure we knew how angry they are at the U.S. and those of us who live there. And they were quick to offer unsolicited opinions. And we certainly feel the need for a welcoming committee more than ever. And your words remind us all that we share that need to be seen, known, and valued. God's blessing to you.
Now, she was responding to a new daily email that I've been sending out, and it was talking about the RV community and how awesome a community that really is, despite our differences. And although it wasn't written about the Canadian thing, it applied, and that's where she talks about wanting that welcome committee or that welcoming community. Now, I can't begin to sort through all this. I don't think you can either. It's very hard. A lot of this is she said, he said, I heard, somebody said, and social media, oh my gosh, it's filled with all this angry rhetoric on both sides. Now, Pat mentioned that incident about somebody who looked like a Border Patrol agent chasing somebody from Ontario down a U.S. highway, and that was verifiable. There is a viral video out of what appears to be a U.S. Customs and Border Patrol officer yelling at a Canadian tourist to never come to the U.S. again. It's a 39-second video. I'm not going to link to that. We don't need to spread all this stuff out there. We don't really know if this guy was a Border Patrol agent or if he was an off-duty guy or what his problem was. But somebody clearly was harassing that couple. And the Border Patrol is investigating that because it was an ugly incident. Nobody was hurt or anything like that. And as soon as that guy saw the Canadians were taking video of him, he left the area. But other incidences are out there, and it's really hard to verify them. However, it's pretty clear that these new border restrictions for Canadians have really put a damper on the number of snowbirds coming through. This is not typical, and I would tell our Canadian writer, come on down. I mean, you know all these folks that you've been camping and snowbirding with.
They're going to miss you.
They will miss you, and there are nut jobs on both sides of this issue.
I don't know. We seem to have a lot of them.
We probably have more than they do in Canada, but they do have them in Canada too. And, RVers are just trying to enjoy RVing. And for anybody to harass somebody like that, it just shows that those people have some serious mental and anger issues. They're nuts. You got to just dismiss it like that. But a lot of the stuff I read on Canadian sites, they're just way out there. I mean, lots of claims and just violent anger. I haven't read anything on any from Americans complaining about Canadian RVers, but we do understand that there's a lot of bad information out there. Our advice, come on to the U.S., right?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's fine. You'd be more than welcome. I don't know what else we can say, except there are crazy people on both sides, and it's a shame. And it's a shame, I think, social media fuels so much of this.
Oh, they do. I mean, there are really a lot of people out there fueling anger.
And the media wants to sensationalize all this because they know people will read it. And,
yeah.
You got to take everything you read with a grain of salt. So
I just wish they wouldn't video everybody being a fool. If they wouldn't give them a platform, I don't think they would waste their energy.
Yeah. Well, it's good to catch, you want to catch the bad guys, but
Yeah.
give it to the authorities and stuff. All right. So I think we'll hear a lot more about this before it all settles down. Now, we got the RV news of the week.
Okay, as the federal government shutdown continues yet another week, we're now seeing reports of nonprofit fundraising to help provide food and other basics for the employees at Zion National Park. And at the Grand Canyon, community groups have started a food pantry for their park's employees. At Rocky Mountain National Park, volunteers are organizing to pick up trash. At Yellowstone, reports say the bear jams are becoming more of an issue without rangers to keep folks safely moving and with no one to collect entrance fees at any of the parks. Some reports show that the National Park Service is losing as much as $1 million per day. And if you're headed out, no visitor centers are generally closed, and some parks are closed, and confusion is king.
Yeah.
It still rains.
It still rains. Hey, attention, Ford pickup owners. There's another recall. We reported one a couple of weeks ago, and now nearly 292,000 pickup trucks made between 2020 and 2022 are being recalled because of discrepancies with a rear view camera image that will not display properly, which causes a kind of a reduced view for the driver in certain conditions. These are F250 SD, F350 SD, and F450 SD models, and letters were mailed out this week, and that recall is underway right now.
Now, a popular 577-site RV park in South Padre Island, Texas, will close for the next year as it undergoes a $12 million improvement.
Isla Blanca Park. It's very popular. It's really cool. It's just such a neat place to camp out there. They're going to modernize those RV sites, electrical, water, wastewater infrastructure. But a lot of people are going to be really disappointed because it's one of the most popular areas to camp, and it's kind of on a lot of people's bucket list to be down there. They're going to also realign 2 streets to improve traffic flow and create another row of RV spots. So give it a year, and it's even going to be better.
Now, drought and unusual weather is causing muted fall colors in much of the country. The best fall colors require rain in August, then sunshine with warm weather and cooler nights in September. But September provides hot days and warm nights in much of the country, and reports show as much as 40% of the country is in a drought.
Yeah, there's still a lot of color out there, but it's not nearly as bright, many say, as it has been in previous years. One last story, and this is a bizarre one. An RV was stopped in Pennsylvania as it drove through Berks County. Somebody reported seeing a large number of dogs in this RV, and when police stopped it and opened the doors, they found 44 small terrier-type dogs, many of them dirty and matted and shaking. They were turned over to the local animal rescue lead for care and placement. We're still investigating that, but there are a lot of people who hoard dogs and cats. You hear about this all the time.
Dogs, too.
They do.
You don't know if they're going to sell them to a research center or what they have in mind.
Back in my investigative reporting days, I remember we went down to one of the southern states and at an auction, like a flea market, and they were selling dogs. And a lot of these dogs, when officials really traced them, had been stolen in the north and brought down. Organized rings of dog thieves had stolen them. So who knows? I don't know what the case was with these 44, but they'll hopefully get to the bottom of it. Hey, if you want more information on all this stuff, we have links, and you can learn more about it all. Just go to the show notes at rvlifestyle.com/podcast. That's where you'll also get a link to our new winterizing guide.
You know, that dog story makes me think that you really need to chip your dog
in
case it disappears and they find a mess of dogs so that they can return your pup.
Yeah. Chip your dog. That's a really good thing. All right, time now for the RV Conversation of the Week. And this week we're doubling up with our Conversation of the Week and the social media buzz. And that's because Wendy Boyer, who's the person who usually brings us the buzz, is also our chief event planner for our RV community gatherings.
Wendy is a pro at spotting the perfect campgrounds, finding local gems, and turning any RV stay into a truly memorable adventure.
So when we were together last week in Texas for one of our rallies, we could not resist asking Wendy to share some of her best kept secrets. Well, Wendy joins us right now, and as we said, Wendy is the event planner for our RV community. She plans all of our rallies. She's been doing that for several years now. And I really don't know of anybody who can give us a better idea of how to get the most out of your RV stay. So welcome. Wendy is here with, this is her social media buzz contribution, by the way, and the conversation of the week. So 2 for 1 on this. All right.
All right.
So first question I want to ask you, though, Wendy, is people tend to go one place, oh, we're just going to overnight there, and then they move on to someplace else. Give some advice about travel. I know I've heard you say before, people travel too fast.
Yes, yes. I would say no matter where you're going, stay a minimum of 2 nights.
Really? 2 nights?
2 nights, yeah.
Even when you're just, on the way to a big destination and I need to take a break at,
Absolutely, absolutely. Every single town has something interesting in it. You could find a quirky museum somewhere. You could find a really pretty landscape path. You name it, it's out there. And if you are so quick that you're just getting there, spending the night, leaving, you're going to miss so much.
Well, along with that, how far then do you recommend people drive?
I follow what you guys say. 3:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about enough to drive. Either drive 330 miles or else stop at 330 so that you can settle in and catch your breath and just look around a little bit.
We hear from veteran RVers who say that that's too far even. Some of them don't go any more than 200 miles. But the point is the ones who are telling you that are the ones who've been doing this a long time, and they have learned what Wendy just said, that there is benefit to stay and enjoy the area you stay at.
Yes, absolutely. There's always something interesting everywhere.
All right. Well, let's say we're going to do that, and we're planning a trip. Walk us through the steps that you do to find the things that make a community really come alive when we're visiting, and how our audience can do the same.
Yeah, the first thing I do, if there's a city that I think would be fun to visit and camp in, I Google it. I just do top 10 things to see in whatever city, whatever state. And then you get a quick glimpse of the best things in that area, and you can see, does that interest me, or is there just not my cup of tea? I'm not into this sort of thing.
Now you said a community that interests you, but what if you're just plotting out, okay, I'm going from here to so-and-so, and I'm going to stop, and here's the town, and maybe there's some campgrounds around it, and the town doesn't particularly interest you at all, but that's where you're going to stay because it's where you got to stop for the night.
So you're talking about a stop on the road somewhere. But then you still do the same thing, but maybe there's just one thing or 2 things. But there's always something. I don't care if it's a big town or a little town. There's always something. If it's a short trip, do the same thing. Google the top 10. If you're looking to find out and plot your destination where you're going to stay for a while, there'll be more than 1 or 2, I'm sure.
And what kind of things do you do when you're, let's say, first of all, finding a campground?
Yeah, once you know your city, you know there's things that are interesting to you, then I use a campground app, maybe RV Trip Wizard or maybe CampSpot, something like that, and I look at all the campgrounds in the area, and the thing that's most valuable, in my opinion, are the reviews. A lot of times people show pictures in the reviews, they'll show descriptions, the right descriptions of what's good, what's bad. You really want to hear what people say.
How do you know whether a review is real or not? Because some of these, there are these services that will give you, good reviews.
Yeah.
We've seen it on some little towns where you go to a restaurant and all of them have 5-star reviews, and that there aren't all 5-star restaurants. People can pay for reviews or fake them. How do you know?
Well, you have to do some research. And so I'm going to back up. So you're looking at the reviews, you're looking at what people are saying. You want to make sure they're recent, because maybe the campground was amazing 5, 6, 8 years ago, but there aren't any current reviews because it's not so amazing anymore because they've taken those off or something. So you want to make sure the reviews are recent. And then one thing I do, if I'm pretty sure that I'm seeing a lot of good things about a campground, I'm liking what I'm seeing, I take the name of that campground, I go to YouTube and I just search it on YouTube, and all these videos come up. Sometimes they're just usually actually they're just hobbyists. Maybe 500 people have watched it, and you can find these gems there of someone just walking around with the camera, going down the rows, and you really see what it looks like.
Okay, that's for campgrounds. But how about people that are staying in RVs overnight or harvest host or just boondocking? How do they find that right spot?
Same thing. People write reviews on everything these days, and if it's if both of those services have a place where you can search reviews, you can see what people are saying about the stops. And if it's, let's say it's a winery or a brewery you're thinking of overnighting at, you can even look at Yelp and see what reviews are, and people often have pictures of the outside of the place, the inside of the place. You can learn a lot by seeing what other people have said about it.
When you're speaking to the campground host or whoever answers the phone, do you ask them about weather, when's a good time to come, insects, things like that?
Absolutely, because as we all know, there are certain places where insects are really out at certain times of the year. Yeah, and when things tend to rain at a certain time of year. So I do ask that. But for the weather, I also double check what they're saying by just Googling what's the typical weather or average weather at whatever month, at whatever city, state that we're looking at, because that can really ruin your trip if you're there at rainy season and it's raining every single time. But you know, the other thing I do when I'm talking to the campground is ask them if there's any construction they have going on, if they're doing any renovations in their park, or if they have any coming up, because that's an important thing to know.
You might want to have a pool to swim, and they might, oh, the pool's closed, we're putting in a new filter.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
You think you're going to swim and you're not. So where else do you check to get information about an area that you want to stay at and visit?
Yeah, so after I've done this, I start really fine-tuning my list. So I have all my campground suggestions from their webpage, from my conversation with them. Then I typically Google the Tourist Information Center, or if they don't have that, the Chamber of Commerce, and see what's on their webpage about interesting things to do and see. And oftentimes those are just a wealth of information there. You can get a free guide mailed to you. You can see all types of things down in different categories for outdoor activities, restaurants, different quirky things they may have. And then I call them. I call them as well to say, hey, I'm coming to the area. This is things I'm interested in. What do you recommend?
Now, how do you use social media to help you find a spot?
Yeah, I think that's something that people should take advantage of thoroughly. We have our private community, which is full of friendly RVers who are so helpful. And then we also have our RV Lifestyle Facebook group, which is very large, over 600,000 people. And so I'll typically write a question on each of those and say, I'm thinking of going to such and such a city and state at this time of year. I know I'm going here, here, and here. What else should I see? And RVers are friendly and helpful, and there's always more ideas you get, because maybe people have been to a certain place and they're happy to share it that you wouldn't know from your list.
Right.
Among other things you want to find out is how noisy is a campground. That's an airplane.
Yeah.
And a little while ago we heard them all doing lawn maintenance and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And you know there's a rule that every campground has to be near a railroad track and a freeway, so you hear the noise. But those are all the things that you can find out in your
research.
Your research. Do you make an agenda up then for each site that, hey, I shouldn't ask that question because I know she
You
does.
know the answer to that.
You wouldn't believe these agendas. But talk about that. Not being overly planned, but why that's important to write down stuff.
Well, I think that you need to have an idea of what you want to see, and you need to kind of plot what time of day and what days make sense to do that, because a lot of times your most interesting restaurants might be closed on Monday or Tuesday, or, as we learned, sometimes Wednesday.
Yes, we had an experience the other day. We had gotten some tips from actually some people in our audience. Go to this place. It's out in the country a bit, but it is the best burger you will ever have. And it was supposed to be a kind of a cool place. So we did. We went all out there on a Wednesday. We pulled in, sign in front said best burgers around. We were pretty excited. But
But we got there, and on Wednesdays, they don't make burgers.
how can you be a burger
So
place
if
and
you
not
wanted
make
a
burgers?
BLT or a taco, you were in luck, but
no
not a burger.
burgers.
Yeah.
So
You
that's
got to
calling
check
ahead.
that out. You got to check that out. Yep.
Well,
And-
they said you could come back the next day, but
But we didn't want. There was a little bit of a drive. Yeah.
that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
So you do make an agenda up, but
Mm-hmm.
how do you leave room for the serendipity?
Oh, you have to leave room because no matter where you are, you're going to see something interesting and unusual. And if you are so scheduled, you won't have room for that. You might see, I recently heard about one place we're looking at that has a pencil sharpener museum.
A what?
A pencil sharpener museum.
A pencil sharpener museum.
Now that to me is quirky and fun and worth seeing. But,
I can one up you.
oh,
We went to the Jell-O Museum
Okay.
somewhere in upstate, or I think it was New York.
New
upstate
York.
Yeah.
yeah, you're going to find stuff like that. So as much as you have your maybe top 3, top 7, whatever the number is of things you want to see, you have to leave space because there will be those gems that you got to leave room to discover. You won't know till you're there.
I know what I used to enjoy doing was when you were driving, I'd have my computer on my lap, and I would look at the cities coming up and see what's happening there.
Yeah.
And that's how we found the popcorn festival.
It's something else that we did that was a lot of fun. I remember one year we went west and we got audio versions of Little House on the Prairie.
Yes.
And we listened to the original novels in audio as we were traveling through South Dakota and as we were hitting the prairie. We did the same thing with the Lewis and Clark expedition too.
Yes.
So audiobooks, that's a
Yeah,
The
that's
more
a great one
prep
too.
you do, I think the better time you'll have.
Yeah, and the more you enjoy it because you know the basics of the community, and so then you know you just get more out of it. You know what you want to see, and it's not one of those situations that you leave and you find out a couple weeks later.
Now, I know we're going to get pushback from people out there who say, you know what, I just want to get where I'm going. What are the advantages of your slow down, stay 2 nights at least at every place? What are your advantages over just getting to your destination?
Well, that's what RVing is all about. When you're on a road trip, you really get to see how the country changes from one state to another state, sometimes town to town. When you're just flying in someplace for a vacation, you're missing all of those things along the way. And when you take your time and you're going slowly, you just really have more of a sense of space and the community and the land. And it might sound a little corny, but I think you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, I think something to avoid getting pushback, sometimes you don't have the luxury.
No,
you got to
you
get
don't.
from point A to
Yeah,
point
yeah,
B.
we
Absolutely.
understand that.
And that we understand that sometimes that happens, but we are
Absolutely.
encouraging is to slow down.
Yeah, people travel too far, too fast. And I think the biggest benefit of your approach to have an epic RV stay is you have energy then. You
Yeah.
know, it's tiring. It's not fun to come into a campground in the middle of the night.
Oh, that's the worst.
It is, it makes you cranky, and then if you just are leaving the next morning, that's not fun either. I love Harvest Host and I love RV overnights because, there are times you don't want to have to spend $70 for an overnight spot when you're only going to be there 12 hours. And we do understand that.
Yeah.
But our suggestion is stay longer. I know RV overnights let you stay free. There's more of their sites that will let you stay more than one day. And there are more Harvest Hosts as well that will let you stay one day. So
We are definitely trying to stay longer because it seems when we first started out,
that was an acorn that just fell off
down.
this tree. Okay.
when we first started out, we were still working and we wanted to see something and we got there as quick as we could, and then we had to drive 500, 600, maybe 700 miles a day to get back, to get to work.
Yeah.
And that isn't fun. You come home exhausted.
And everybody in the RV lifestyle goes through different stages. When you first start off, you'll drive 700 miles in a day. It's crazy to do, but or you just want to get to that place as fast as you can. But I think what you have taught us, Wendy, as you've planned these things, is you miss so much when you
do.
go so fast. Let's just end this with some of the ideas of places to check. And when I think of that, I think of farms. Many farms will let you tour their area, right?
Yeah. We did that once when the kids were young, we were driving past a farm and we knocked on the door and said,
We
our
did.
kids have never seen a farm
Do you remember
house
that?
before.
I
You were
remember
pretty
seeing,
young.
I don't remember that, but I remember seeing cows when I was older. And again, I was interested in that because grew up in a city and never seen a cow. So yeah,
Yeah, so,
yeah.
like people who live on farms are interested in some things that are in the city that we know about.
All right, back to campgrounds for a minute. I don't know if you can hear all that noise. Another important thing to look for in a campground is the grass cut and is the park well maintained. And as you can hear, they're well maintaining this one right
This
now.
one, yes.
And with all that noise, it's probably a good time for us to kind of wrap up this interview. Wendy, if people have specific questions, we can put them in contact with you. We can share your email address in the description.
Okay.
Most important thing I think I heard you say is spend 2 or 3 days per place.
Absolutely. Don't wear yourself out. Enjoy it. Enjoy the journey.
All right, now you know. Thank you, Wendy. Follow those tips and you'll have a great stay. I like her tip about just slowing down, taking it easy, stay longer, and you'll find so much more of a rewarding trip. Every trip can be an epic RV adventure.
Now, are you tired of expensive campgrounds and crowded RV parks? What if we tell you there's a way to discover amazing overnight stays across the U.S. and Canada for just
$49 a year.
RV Overnights connects you with incredible hosts at farms, wineries, breweries, and unique roadside attractions that welcome RVers with open arms.
These aren't just parking spots, they're experiences. Many locations offer electric and water hookups, and you can often stay for multiple days. Picture yourself waking up in a vineyard in Napa, or parking beside a working farm in Montana, or discovering that quirky roadside museum you never knew existed. These are real small business owners who genuinely love meeting fellow travelers and sharing their slice of America.
We've been using RV Overnights this summer and have just been delighted with the places we've stayed, like a bison ranch where we got up close and personal with some bison and had a beautiful bison pasture to camp in. Planning your adventure with RV Overnights is incredibly easy. They have a great app and desktop, website. You search for your route, book your stays, hit the road.
We have had a really good time with RV Overnights, and we got to tell you that we can make this really nice for you. You know, it's $49 a year, but because you're part of our audience, you can get 40% off that $49 a year. 40% off, but you have to use the promo code RVLDEAL when you sign up. Don't miss out. This is a really great way to travel. Head to rvlifestyle.com/RVOvernights right now. And remember, use the promo code RVLDEAL and you'll save 40%. Your next great adventure is just a click away. All right. What do you think about finding your own land for your RV adventures?
That's a great idea.
Yeah, we have been frustrated like a lot of other people, you know, particularly with campgrounds where you try to get into a campground and you need to have reservations so far in advance. You can only stay certain times. And then they have all these new pricing things. Sometimes you reserve a site, you get there, and unless you gave them a bunch of extra money when you booked, you don't get the site you reserved. Doesn't happen if you own your own RV property. The problem is that in many parts of the country, it's very hard to find property that you can buy, particularly multi-acreage property, do what you want whenever you want, and stay long-term if you want in your RV. We know of one state right now that is very active with that, and another one that is just on the market with it. Let's start with the brand new one. This is a development in Arkansas, and right after that, we'll tell you about one in Arizona. Introducing Woodland Hills, a brand new opportunity for your own multi-acreage RV property in one of the South's most desirable locations, beautiful Lake Eufaula, known as the Big Bass capital of the South. This new development goes on sale this month, and it's right by the Georgia border. It's teeming with game, towering hardwood forest, rolling hills, groomed trails, hidden fields, and freshwater springs. This natural paradise has been divided into large acreage properties designed for privacy and ranging in size from 10 to 25 acres. Prices start at only $59,900. Taxes, some of the lowest in the nation at $200 a year. These properties are ready to build, very RV friendly with no HOA. It's your property, your way. The location is ideal near massive Lake Eufaula, beautifully preserved historic towns, state and national parks, and so much more. And it's just a half-day's drive from the sugar sand beaches of Florida. These properties are being sold on a first-come, first-choice basis. You must have a scheduled showing to see them. Call 877-545-LAND. That's 877-545-LAND. Higher elevations in Arizona, where the vegetation is green, is typically where you find the highest prices for real estate and the most restrictions for RVers. But there's something in Arizona this October that is great for RVers in a green zone at excellent pricing. Western Land and Ranches is selling 5-acre RV ranches starting at only $49,900. These are high elevation ranches, so you get cooler temperatures, big mountain views, juniper trees, green grasses, and lots of space to stretch out. Jen and I visited at the ranch, and it is spectacular. It's near everything: the Grand Canyon, Lake Havasu, Kingman, Flagstaff, Sedona. A perfect place to have a home base to explore the West right off famous Route 66. We met the sales manager, Eric, really nice guy. He bought a property for his RV, and he's building a container home on it. Check the website for a video tour and showing availability. It's pretty incredible. ArizonaRVland.net.
Now it's time for the question of the week, and this week's question is from Haley. My daughter flushed my husband's glasses into the black tank. Any recommendations to get them out?
Oh, no, Haley, that is a tough one. Well, unfortunately, once something like glasses goes down into the black tank, there's really no easy way to fish them out. The tank contents, the way black tanks are designed, it's got a narrow valve. All of that stuff makes it very difficult to retrieve something like that. It's just really hard to do. So it's usually just not worth it. Your best bet is let it go literally. Fill up your tank as full as you can make it. Now, supervise it. You don't want to overfill. And then dump it. And if the glasses don't, get lined up and come out that drain by themselves, they're probably going to stay lodged in the bottom. They're going to have solids wrapped around them, and it's just going to be a kind of like a bump in the bottom of your tank. It's not going to hurt anything.
One thing, Dad probably would wear them if they got him out of there. I don't know about the daughter.
I don't want these glasses. What smells?
Would you wear them if we got them? Oh, you wouldn't? Oh,
no.
Thank you.
I know it goes in that tank. I would not wear
Yeah.
Now, if they really want them back, you could take your RV to an RV service center, and technically they could drop the tank, they could clean it out, but that is such a messy, labor-intensive job. It'll cost you a whole lot more than replacing the glasses.
Well, I think it's not good to have, I don't know how big these glasses are, but aren't they going to cause problems in there? Maybe you have to get them out? Period.
No, you don't have to get them out. The only thing that could happen is if it could somehow jam up in the valve. But I think the more likely thing is they're just going to settle at the bottom, and they're going to stay there. Your best chance to get rid of them is right away. Fill up that tank. Try it several times. Fill it up and empty it. But unless you want to spend a whole lot of money and drop your tank, I don't think you're going to be able to do anything.
What I love about you, you're always the optimist.
Well,
that they're going to come out. That you're not going to have to go have a major expensive.
I think the best part of this story is that it's a funny RV real life story, and you can tell that around the next campfire. But I think you'll be all right. It's just you're going to have to get some new glasses. Even if you did get them out, you don't want them. Hey, do you have a question? Do you have a comment on anything we said today? We'd love to hear it. Just send us an email. Our private email is mikeandjen@rvlifestyle.com. That's the podcast for this week. Thanks for watching and listening.
Happy trails.